All systems go.
All systems, yeah.
Morning, everybody, and I'll open the meeting at 9:10, and we will start with confirmation of the minutes of the ordinary meeting on the 26th of March 2025. Councillor Brompton.
I move that the minutes of the ordinary meeting held on the 26th of March 2025 be confirmed.
Seconded by Councillor Surat. All those in favour? 9-0.
Just make sure everyone's got their microphones on.
One job, Joe.
10.1, administrative guidelines, administrative support staff councillors. Have a mover? Councillor O'Neill.
I'll move, but I just want to, through you, Mayor, to Rob. Wouldn't it be normal that council receive and note the administrative guideline, not acknowledge? I just wonder if is there a reason why it's acknowledge and not note?
We just obviously got Liza to prepare that one and their review, so just for consistency with our other reporting, we're happy to go with that. The only other change with it too, councillors, obviously out of the brief was the feedback in terms of councillors' ability to communicate with the media, corporate comms team, so that's been included in that as a change as well too. So.
Yep. All right. Well, I'll move that council receive and note the administrative guideline, administrative support staff councillors as presented.
Have a seconder? Councillor Davis, would you like to speak? Councillor?
Thanks very much, Mayor. This is important for us to operate as councillors. Obviously, there is a distinctive line between the strategic arm, which is us, and the operational arm, which is led by the CEO. But of course, there are staff that support us to do our role, particularly in the executive team, support team led by Kelly, and the corporate comms team led by Matt. Having these guidelines set by the CEO gives us the confidence that whilst there is a very strong line in the Local Government Act that we can't direct staff, the support staff that we need to do our job allows us, based on these guidelines that the CEO has presented, the opportunity to do that where it helps us do our role. So very clear guidelines, and I'm pleased they're before us today, so we've got the confidence that we are doing our job appropriately and not breaching any legislation.
Anybody else like to speak? Let's go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. 12.1, temporary 25-metre pool establishment during the Denise Spencer Aquatic Centre redevelopment. Do I have a mover?
What page is it?
35. Councillor Vincent.
I'd like to move that Council 1 receive and note the report regarding the temporary establishment of a 25-metre pool for the duration of the Denise Spencer Aquatic Centre construction. 2, not proceed with a temporary 25-metre pool option due to the overall cost associated with such an installation.
Have a seconder. Councillor O'Neill. Would you like to speak, Councillor?
Yeah, just thank you to the staff for bringing the information back to the table for us to have another look at. I know it was looked at earlier in the planning for the Denise Spencer Aquatic Centre. And so, yeah, I'd prefer myself to see that money put into the longer term project for the community. I know we do have people in the community that are going to miss the pool, but I just think the money will be better spent on the long-term project.
Anyone against? Anyone else like to speak? Councillor O'Neill.
I'll speak in favour of this. I echo the sentiments expressed by Councillor Vincent. Thank you to our officers for doing the providing us with the report. Obviously, there had been conversation happening for some time in respect to how do we mitigate the impact of temporarily closing the Denise Spencer pool for the construction period. In light of some of the feedback that individual councillors had received from concerned residents, that the loss should be filled with other options for that 18-month period where they can use a pool, in terms of the location being Roma. The thoroughness behind this and the sheer cost that would be put upon this particular project to achieve that very clearly illustrates that this is not a good decision economically. We have worked incredibly hard for the last 12 months to ensure that we can fund this project. And it wasn't an easy task to get to the point where we're constructing what we are constructing in terms of the new aquatic centre, to add a further cost of millions of dollars on top of that for the temporary access to a pool for the 18 months is very clear to me that would not be the right decision long term for our community, and would mean that council would have to dip it further into cash reserves, or we would be going back to government. And I reckon we turned every stone to get where we are today, and therefore it would sit on the shoulders of this council to fund this particular activity, and the cost just means it's prohibitive. And I know that will be disappointing to some in the community, but at the end of the day, at the back end of 2026, we are going to have a state-of-the-art aquatic centre, not just for Roma, but for the entire region, and that's where our focus should be going to achieve that as quickly as we can.
Councillor Brompton.
I'd like to echo Councillor Vincent and Councillor O'Neill's comments, and I do acknowledge that there is a number of community members that are more affected and feel more aggrieved by having no pool available for the 18 months. But I think we and them probably have to look at the bigger picture, and this would be a huge cost to the ratepayers of the Maranoa to have a temporary pool there, and it is 18 months, and we have got alternate options. And I'd like to again thank the staff for the work they've done, but I can't justify spending ratepayers' money of that amount for that period of time.
Anyone else like to speak? Councillor Hancock.
Thanks, Mayor. I too would like to thank the staff for bringing this report to us today. This report just does acknowledge that the decision we made to refurbish the Denise Spencer Aquatic Centre is a really big decision, and this council has actually tried to think of every possible scenario that we could do to help ease that pain on our residents, but I too cannot justify a spend of somewhere between $4 million and $5 million for a temporary pool. We need to use that money elsewhere, and we are looking at other options so that we can somehow assist our community in the 18 months that they don't have the Roma pool. So I will be just supporting the receiving and noting of this.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak? Would you like to sum up, councillor?
No, I think that's all been said. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, all those, we'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. .13.1 Warroo Sporting Complex Canteen Project. Internal fit out. Do I have a mover?
I'd like to move, Madam Mayor, that Council 1 receive and note the report as an update on the Warroo Sporting Complex Canteen project, and 2, endorse option 4, which is a supply and installation of a modular style kitchen, and allocate, and get some advice from the director here, but I believe the amount is now $55,000 from work order 22913, Warroo Sporting Complex Canteen upgrade, to a new project titled Warroo Sporting Complex Canteen Fit Out.
Have a seconder?
I'm happy to second. I just want to clarify that amount because I don't want to be cut short. I'd rather you come in under budget than be cut short from budget.
Thanks, Councillor, and through the Chair, we're confident that 55 will get the job done, and we're hoping to involve some user group community members possibly. We'll get the builder on board, possibly some council staff. So we really think that's a fair amount to aim for.
Happy to second?
Yes.
Seconded by councillor Hancock. Would you like to speak, councillor?
Yeah, I'd just like to support the project. Obviously, this project has been in the wings for the Warroo Sporting Complex for some time now. The building itself has been completed, but the fit out of the kitchen in the kitchen area has not been completed. There's been a number of discussions with regard to how the project would take place, and I think this is, with the money that's been allocated, is the final fit out for the modular style kitchen that has been requested and discussed with the committee of the Warroo Sporting Complex.
Thank you. Councillor Hancock.
Yeah, thanks, Madam Mayor. I would like to acknowledge that the project come in under budget and thank the staff for that. And I'm really happy to support this motion because we are just using some of that money that we've saved on the project to go back in to actually fit the canteen out. As Councillor Flynn said, this project's been sitting there. The building's been completed for a long time, but it's still been unusable because we haven't been able to fit it out. So I'm very supportive of this, cannot wait for it to be fitted out and cannot wait to be able to be in there and helping support my community down there and buying some great food from that canteen. It is a really great asset for that facility, and I know that we've had many events there where it's been sitting there and we can't access it, so I'll just really look forward to it to be completed and to be actually used by our community.
Can I just ask, is there a timeline for this?
Mayor, yeah, look, we obviously need to get this done before end of financial year because it's a project for this final year, and so we've got 10 weeks to do it. So, and there's a lot of events coming up, so we're under the pump.
Yeah, well, that's great. Councillor Davis.
I just have some questions, please, because this project does span both council terms, I guess. So my question is, was the retrofitting included in the original contract? Because I believe that was accounted for in there.
Sorry, could you repeat that last bit?
The
of it?
original contract with the builder, the
Yeah.
tender documents went out that there was a requirement to retrofit the fixtures from the old canteen.
I wasn't the original project manager on that particular project, so I'd have to come back to you and just check the tender documents on that, councillor.
Yeah, or the contract.
Yeah.
Would probably be the
Yeah,
best. And we've got this money left, but how did we come in 75K under budget?
It was just allocated through the original project, and as far as I'm aware, that's the builder completed the project on time. I mean, Cameron might be able to add a bit more. It's one of the regional projects, but it's just completed on time and under budget.
Yeah. And my other concern is the power there. Historically, have we spoke with Ergon? Are they happy with the draw? With all, once this canteen is all fitted out, are we going to have power issues?
That's a great question. There is another aspect to upgrade the facility. I guess we'd have to look at the loading first of all. We have got a cutout switch on the canteen just in case it does overload the ampage on the current pole. But there is an issue generally with the power at the complex. But we'd have to just assess that and just come back and possibly use it as another project to upgrade to 3-phase. But look, it's just a year-by-year basis. We would just need to see what the assessment of that power is actually drawing down on that particular pole. But we're confident that it will be okay and satisfactory at this stage. But we do have a backup system.
Which is a generator.
We can add a generator to power the canteen, correct?
Anyone else like to speak? Councillor Burke.
Yeah, I'm supportive of this. Being involved in the last term, I think sometimes when projects do take a while, whether it's waiting for funding, groups change committees and, they come in with different ideas. So it was a very exhaustive consultation period, went back and forth, but the end result, we've got a great facility, and I look forward to seeing it come to fruition with the new fit out, and take my hat off to all the people involved and staff. It was a big process for you guys, and I'm sure the community will appreciate the work that's been done.
Councillor O'Neill.
I'm going to move a procedural motion, but Councillor Davis just indicated she hadn't finished her questions.
I was just still...
Oh, sorry.
no, that's okay.
Sorry.
Well, I really think that we need to find out what council has paid for in the contract rather than proceeding with this motion as it stands, because I'm quite concerned we're going to be back here again wanting more money for the power, and we're going to still have a canteen that's not operational because we don't have the power to support it if that is the case.
Would you like to lay it on the table?
Well, I was just going to, can I move a procedural motion? We lay this on the table to later in this meeting, because I want to understand that the contractual issue that has been raised is something we could probably, I think, find out before the end of this meeting. The power issue, I'll let others decide, but I'll move a procedural motion. This lays on the table to later in the meeting to get the answer, Councillor Davis, in terms of what was originally contracted.
Seconded by Councillor Hancock. All those in favour? Against? 8-1.
Thanks,
I'd
Councillor.
like my vote recorded.
If I could call for a division.
And just for clarity, the procedural motion didn't need a seconder.
Oh,
Sorry.
Yeah.
all right. Thank you very much, Matt.
Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
13.2, Wallumbilla Multipurpose Building Facility Name. Councillor Surat.
I wish to declare a conflict of interest on item 13.2. The declaring councillor is myself, Councillor Brendan Seawright. The person of interest is myself. The particular interest is I am the president of the Wallumbilla Town Improvement Group, who submitted suggested names for the multi-purpose building and is also mentioned in this report. It's prescribed conflict of interest, and I will leave the room while the matter is discussed and voted on.
Thank you. Councillor Seawright has left the room. Morning all. I didn't say morning before, sorry Lucy. Do I have a mover or a question? What have we got?
Got a question?
Yes.
Like the options given have just come from the groups in town. Has it gone out to the broader community at all, just the groups?
Through the chair, not to individual residents, but it was part of the original resolution was to seek responses from the groups, and that's what we did.
Okay.
I've got a question also. Have you finished? Come on.
You right?
The recommendation is that council shortlist up to 3 preferred names. Were we to do that in this meeting, or was that via a briefing and then we go back? Because if we shortlist, then it would have to come back to us, I assume, for it to go out, or could we shortlist via a briefing and then it go to community for consultation? I'm just a bit concerned about a process of actually going through a shortlist.
We had a briefing.
Oh, it might have been while I was
Yeah.
away. But still, shortlisting,
We didn't shortlist.
We didn't
We did.
shortlist.
No, it
No,
was-
because we
no.
can't make decisions
Yeah.
in a briefing.
yeah.
So was the aim of the game today for us to name 3?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mayor, that was the intention. There is an option that if you can't narrow it down, there's no reason we can't go to the community with the full list. It does mean that it's very likely that the votes will be spread, obviously, across a much larger percentage. If that occurs and there's, say, 3 or 5 or, a combination of names who are very close in scoring, we could bring those ones back to the chambers. And if you were comfortable in making a decision on those shortlisted through the community, we could do that. Or then we could even go out again with those shortlisted names to do a second round.
Councillor Hancock.
I'm happy to move.
Mhm.
That Council 1 shortlists Wallumbilla Calico Cottage Community Hub, that's number 1. 2, no particular order, just 2, the Wheat Shed / the Grain Shed. 3, Wallumbilla Pioneer Complex. And 4, can we just have an other when it goes out? Like the 3 and then another, just in case one gets flushed out from the community. Sorry, I probably shouldn't have been speaking then.
Can
2,
you-
endorse a community consultation process to seek feedback on the shortlisted names. 3, receive a subsequent report outlining the community feedback and recommending a final name for formal adoption.
Can you just name your 3 again, sorry?
Wallumbilla Calico Cottage Community Hub. the Wheat Shed, the Grand Shed, Wallumbilla Pioneer Complex. I'm just putting a starting out there, Madam Mayor.
It'd be like bids here.
Yeah, I know, I was gonna,
And I'm going to move a procedural motion that this lays on the table later in the meeting to give councillors an opportunity to have a conversation about what an appropriate process may be to narrow down
Otherwise we could.
because I think this could splinter very quickly on names. I think if we come up with a process first, adopted this meeting, so I'm moving that.
All those in favour? Against? Are you for or against, councillor?
I'm for the procedural motion.
Right. 8-0. Go back to yours.
Thank you, Councillor.
8-0.
You haven't got anything on this one, Bob?
No, so this will be the,
Just both know that.
Are we get a response today? Are we laying it, I'm happy to lay it if we're going to get a response.
probably wait till the upcoming, till the following meeting.
Yeah.
I don't look at it today. We did
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So you could just move to
Yeah.
defer it to
Yeah.
the next meeting,
Yeah.
which will move in
Yeah.
a second.
Yeah.
Okay, 14 got everyone? Yep, 14.1, Maranoa Medical Bursary Program. Councillor Brompton.
Can I move that we defer this to a subsequent meeting till we get the feedback from the health service around how successful the previous nursing bursaries have been?
I'll second that.
Yeah, we did just go only to them yesterday, just to see that the ones that were beneficiaries last time, how that looks today, just so we know how, which track we want to go for the next financial year. Okay, so seconded by councillor O'Neill. All those in favour? 9-0. Thank you.
That's all right. I did talk to Dr. Brown, so he did print that framework and he was very happy with it.
14.1,
I'm going to do 14.2.
14.2, sorry Pete. Roma Country Music Festival Post-Event Report. Councillor Flynn.
Conflict of interest here on item 14.2, Roma Country Music Festival. The declaring councillor is Peter Flynn, the person with interest is myself. The particulars of the interest, I am an executive member of the Eastern the Country Committee who run a festival with similar events, and as such I could be seen to have my decision-making influenced by that interest. I believe it's a prescribed conflict of interest, and I'll leave the room while the matter is being discussed and voted on.
Thank you. Councillor Flynn has left the room. Questions?
Yep.
Yes, councillor Hancock.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. My concern is the date, November. And last time it nearly got rained out and numbers were affected because of the weather. We, as council, previous time I first come, we were quite vocal about the date. The last one being in November, but it was too late at that stage to change the date. And that's part of the reason why, we needed to get a report back to see how it was affected and in my view, that it was affected. And so, I guess it is storm season and other than that, it's really, really hot for people to be camping. So I'm concerned about the date in November to start with. I note in the report that it said there was discussions about July and August.
September, October.
And there was July, August, September, October, was
Was
it?
there? I don't know.
Because I read somewhere else it was July, August.
Yeah, August would be out for Bassett Park.
So I'm just wanting to know that even though it says that it was discussed and there was conflicting stuff, I guess a report of those conflicting schedules would have been good. And I've just lost my train of thought. I'm just Oh, the reason I actually want to ask you is it conflicting schedules, or is it the fact that this event has already been publicised and tickets have already been pre-sold, and so therefore, once again, we're locked into a November event?
Through the chair, from my point of view, and best as I understand it, no tickets have been sold. Because the understanding was that we have to have the right to say where we're going to move forward on this, as was the case with the MOU. And the delay has been that we had to get the information from the other side, because obviously they had to provide us with the report. The information we originally got we felt wasn't satisfactory. So we asked for further information so we could at least give council some feedback as to how the whole event went. So I'm happy to go and ask the organiser, but if he's running the event and taking sales and we haven't given approval, from my point of view, I'd be saying then that he can do what he wants, but we won't be funding him because it's in breach of the MOU.
And so when you had the discussions with them, was it by mutual, like our officers and them, that you'd come back with the recommendation of staying with November, or was it really about the people who are running the event for November?
Discussion was with the event organisers, because obviously
It's their event.
it's their event. They also know what's also, and I think the other thing we have to consider is, or part of the consideration should be, they're also running an awful lot of other events at various stages. I think Wangaratta was up not so long ago. It's being advertised right now, I saw on my feed. So, but we did have, because we knew that the date was going to be a question, because from the original discussion, and we saw the outcome it was either going to be very hot or very. We didn't expect the rain, but it still had an impact on the event. So, from my thinking. And we also know that the reason why we changed to November, the original date, was because there was an event happening in the western down in Dalby Way, so we didn't want to run two major events and then none of us get any good outcome from that. So we've left it that we've given feedback to the organiser of council's concerns. But as they are the organisers, we're guided by this is when they want to do the event.
Fits in with their broader schedule.
They're not selling tickets at the moment.
But they're advertising.
They're advertising.
the
Click here to
dates.
register for pre-sale, so you can't buy a ticket just yet.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that till then.
As far as another date, August, definitely out of Bass Park every weekend's booked out there.
Yep.
Have you finished, Councillor? Councillor Davis, do you have something?
Is it questions or has someone moved?
Questions? No one's moved it yet. Have you got questions or do you want to move?
I do have, no. I do just have a question regarding the key details. It's 1,100 tickets were sold, but we're working on 1,350 paid visitors. Is that including all of this event support staff and that?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Mine's just a little bit more around that as well. What's in the key details, the actual details vary from what's actually in the report. So they're saying that 28% were from the Maranoa, but when at the back they're working on 60% were from within the region, and 40% were from outside the region, and they're basing it on 1,500 attendees, which is 400. It's more than what, or 300 tickets more than what actually was sold. And the other one that I wanted probably more information on is what it did end up costing council on the in-kind side, especially with the rain. Like they had to bring in the loam afterwards to fix the problems from the rain and the people.
Yes.
So there was no sort of funding for that at the time, so I don't know sort of what that came back costing council, and whether staff were working at the event and that sort of thing.
If we're going, oh sorry.
You go.
If we're going to come back with stuff, can I have a look at the MOU? I wasn't involved. I don't know what the final MOU was either.
Yep.
Mine was, did we give them 10 and this time it's 12? Or, so in the post-event acquittal report, the funding was 10, but now we're in the recommendation, it's 12?
As through the chair, good question. There's two parts to it. It's $10,000 to the event organiser and $2,000 to Sports Marketing Australia, who have brought the event to us because they're acting as the intermediary. And that was mentioned also in the MOU.
That was in May, that was in the last year in May.
Yep.
Councillor Davis, you want to lay this on the table for more information?
Yes, please.
Can we have
I
the
move.
information today?
I think so.
We'll
The MOU?
give it our best shot. Yes.
You want the MOU?
Yes, please.
Yep.
Anything else?
In-kind support, what it cost us for the
What the
in-kind.
cost for in-kind support? Councillor O'Neill.
Just, my question would be, in terms of information coming back, if this is being laid on the table. This is seeking sponsorship again. What is their prospectus? What is their sponsorship prospectus? What can we look at to see what's the value proposition of that investment? Surely they're not just seeking sponsorship from Maranoa Regional Council. There must be other sponsors, one would assume, and so there must be something that they presented to consider sponsoring.
Through the chair, the MOU was, I mean, the discussions happened as a result of myself approaching SMA, looking to how can we raise the profile of the Maranoa. They came back to us with an email just saying basically we have an event organiser who runs major events around Australia, hasn't looked at Queensland, would be keen to talk to you. And that's where we developed then the MOU from there. So there wasn't physically here's our sponsorship prospectus, and this is what you're going to get in return.
But then we have invested for 1 year. What was the return? Not just obviously the investment of getting people into town, but what was the return on Maranoa Regional Council sponsoring the event?
Yep.
That's what I'd like to know.
We can give you that information. It's all part of the attached document.
In the amount
Councillor Burkett?
of money that came into the town.
In May last year, we moved to add stuff to the MOU, so we must have seen it because renegotiate memorandum of understanding dated 29/24 to reflect the following, and there's about 10 points there that
Yes,
so we did in May last year, so we added to the original one then.
correct.
Councillor Davis.
I'd just like to say that I didn't receive the MOU as I was out under, it could have been a conflict of interest, so if we can still get that sent to us, that'd be great.
Councillor Hancock.
And also, can we actually have the date in November, not just November? Have they got a date in November?
Yeah,
28, 29.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
advertised.
but if we're going to be endorsing a date, we probably should put the date
Yes.
in the resolution.
Does anybody have any other questions? Going to lay it on the table. All those in favour? 8-0. Thank you. If we get Councillor Flynn back. Thank you.
Yeah, big thing. If there's any additional information on sponsorship.
Councillor Flynn is back in the room.
Oh my God, yeah. You'll be right with that. Next.
14.3, minor change to existing development permit, material change of use, undefined use reference 2022/20698. Councillor Flynn.
I declare a conflict of interest on item 14.3, the material change of use application. The declaring councillor is myself, Peter Flynn. The person of interest is myself. Particular interest, my daughter Lucy Foley supplied a letter of support for the applicant's proposal for the change of use. Again, I believe it's a prescribed conflicts of interest, and I'll leave the room while the matter is being discussed and voted on.
Thank you.
This way this time.
Councillor Flynn has left the room.
Mayor, I'm going to declare an interest as well. Sorry, I've only just thought of this. So that's why I didn't submit it to you, Rob. It'll be a declarable conflict of interest. Thanks, Kel. So the item is 14.3, subject heading minor change of existing development permit material change of use, undefined use, for reference 2022/20698. Declaring council is Councillor Cameron O'Neill. Person with the interest is myself. Particulars of the interest are that the Western Queensland Spirit has and potentially will sponsor the homebrew section of the Roma show. Sponsor the homebrew section of the Roma show, of which I am involved. The type of conflict is a declarable conflict of interest, and the action I will take is the opposite to what's in front of me, Kel. Although I have a declarable conflict of interest, I do not believe a reasonable person could have a perception of bias. Therefore, I will choose to remain in the meeting. However, I respect the decision of the meeting on whether I can remain participate in the decision.
Councillor Brompton.
I move that it is in the public interest that Councillor O'Neill participates and votes on agenda item 14.3 because a reasonable person would trust that the decision is made in the public interest.
Seconded by Councillor Davis. All those in favour? 7-0. Okay, Councillor Vincent.
Question quickly, if I may. Just in regards to number 43, moving to within the distillery and cellar door building, does that mean that they can't use their lawned area on Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays and Mondays to Thursdays? Am I reading it right or wrong?
Through you, Chair. So they can, so it's the distillery bit. So they can use the lawn area up until those hours. Mondays, so on Mondays and Thursdays though, it's just inside for those events. So on the Fridays, Saturdays and Sundays, they can use the lawn area, but during the week, it's only inside area.
So if they were to have a luncheon on a Thursday, it would have to be inside the building.
Yeah, they can they can put through, we can grant them permission if they do request to have something out on the lawn area during those times, and we can give them those event approvals.
You can do it, and you can obviously, for as long as they communicate what the event is, do it as a discretionary event.
Which the officers do.
Yeah. Yes.
For completeness on that one, then 43, so it's explicit. Maybe the dot points turn into 43A and B. Yeah.
Yep. Do that.
Oh, sorry, Councillor Hancock.
I just have a question on point 42. that is changing to between 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. on Fridays, Saturdays and Sundays, and between 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. on Mondays to Thursdays. Are we, my first question is, do they want on a Sunday afternoon to be able to go to 11 p.m?
They want the option, and it'd be largely event-based. Yeah. So this is not dictating that they will be open that span of hours all the time. It's giving them the option to be able
It's
to.
only for 20 events a year.
Yeah.
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 But it's
Because
just,
they've already got that.
That exists.
That exists. The change is only what is
The
bolded.
Yeah.
That's current.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like, sorry, it's not like a hotel where it's designated every day of the week.
No. It's still just, it sets the parameters of how they operate, basically.
So basically, this is what they've asked for.
They already had the 11 p.m. They've just asked for Mondays to Thursdays
Yeah,
also,
but
is my understanding.
I'm talking
Yeah.
all the changes that they've asked for. Is that what we're giving them? We're not fighting any of it? No. Okay, thank you. Councillor Vincent?
I move it. Do I have to read all that?
No.
as follows. Well, as listed, yeah.
I'm happy to move then.
Just the first paragraph would be good. Were you moving? Yeah.
I move that council issue a change decision notice
In relation
in
to.
relation to the existing development approval, reference 2022/20698 for a material change of use, undefined use, distillery, cellar door, function facility and short-term accommodation at 50 Bunjawaggerai Lane, Roma, properly described as Lot 2 on RP 35389, reflecting the changes as follows.
I think it's got to be as listed.
As listed.
As listed.
As listed.
Could also,
Or
sorry,
ASF.
change decision notice, Kel. Councillor Vincent said notice, but you accidentally took that bit out at the start. Council issues a change decision notice. Just take the to the out. Yeah. Sorry.
In relation, notice in.
Yeah, just take the to the out. Yes.
All right, we'll have a seconder. Councillor Brompton, would you like to speak, councillor?
Yes, the Western Queensland Distillery are looking to change some of their product offerings out at the distillery. This gives them the option to increase for events in the region, to do more for the tourists during the season as well. So I think it'll just increase economic development in our region and supports a business that's getting stronger and stronger as they grow.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak?
Got a question, sorry. On page 107, where it's got the layout, the entrance to the facility is the site entrance remains with the construction of the cabins as it stands. There hasn't been a request for an additional entrance, no?
No.
And I just wonder where they've got the proposed plunge pool, condition, and I couldn't see, what, have we got conditions around privacy screening, natural privacy screening, foliage or whatever, along the Bunjawaggerai Lane?
Yeah, I think that's a hedge thing there.
We mandate that, though.
We can, sorry, Kate's not here, but we can get her up on Teams if you'd like. She would know more.
I think that's a hedge.
I don't.
Yeah.
Or garden beds, maybe it is.
Because where it's got denotes established garden beds, there is a garden along there, the one that comes across the property, just making sure that that is along Bunjawaggerai as well.
It's the same picture, so I'd say so.
It is, yeah, right.
But it also, there's an arrow, sorry, Councillor Beck, but there's also an arrow that says denotes vehicle access path.
I think that's
Coming
here.
from the
I think that's
rear.
before the beds.
Okay.
I just got a question,
Yeah.
Chair. These, all of the concerns that the neighbours had are being addressed, really, haven't they? The lights and the potential dust control and...
They have as much as they can be, because, I mean, they're still going to have to be monitored, and, I mean, if they do, you know, conduct an event that the neighbours believe triggers sensitive receptors around noise, light and dust, we're still going to have to follow up.
Yeah.
But that's ongoing, and that will...
Yeah, it's like a trial to get it right. Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. But they've been quiet since our last visit, which is good.
Can I just ask, following on from Councillor O'Neill's question about the accommodation, there's no change to any of those provisions in what we're doing now, though, currently, is there, from what I read, unless I missed something?
So they have amended their site plan to include another proposed cabin.
So there was, in the original, there was two,
Two,
and this
yes.
is, today would be three.
I must have missed that in where is that listed?
It's on the site plan at the
Yeah, so
Only.
unfortunately, it is listed in condition 5 of the amendment, so with the plan and document names, that one has been changed to reflect the...
Oh, I see the bolded thing, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay.
So Councillor O'Neill, do you want a question, an answer to your question? Or-
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. Kel, are we able to just call Kate on Teams? I don't have one. Yeah. Oh, you do?
No.
You'll-
Yeah, I'm sure I can. I think.
Lucy, do you want us to lay it on the table?
We, can I just call her off the phone?
Yeah,
And
we'll
put it
just
on
get the
speaker?
We've already got an emotion, haven't we? Yeah.
Yep.
We've had a mover and seconder on the motion.
You can still have a procedural motion,
Yeah.
though.
Hello, Kelly's just sent you an
Yeah,
invite
it's
to
just we
join
haven't
the
done it
team.
yet. We had a mover and seconder on, because Jane moved and I second.
It's just about the screening. For the garden beds in the pool. Do you want me to just put you on speaker? Yeah. Alrighty, I've got Kate on speaker now.
Hey, Kate.
Hello, Kate. Kate, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yep, I just had the question just in relation to the site plan on 107 with the additional cabin. Is there what the area that says denotes established garden beds that run across the property? That includes the whole of the boundary down Bungie Waggarai Lane, doesn't it?
I'm pretty sure. Let me just get the map up so I know I'm not telling fibs.
For context, Kate, I raise this in respect to the proposed plunge pool.
Yeah. Okay.
Was the pool on the original one?
It was discussed, I think, in the briefing, the pool.
No, but in the approval, the original approval for the development, was the plunge pool in there? Or is that...
No, they've added the plunge pool
Yeah.
as part of the change.
Cabin.
Where are my change plans? Change applications.
But it's got it on the northern boundary, but it doesn't mention the...
Yeah, so their plans are showing garden beds up the whole of the Bungie frontage and along the northern boundary. I'm pretty sure the northern boundary ones were conditioned in the approval.
Yeah, they were, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, what was the answer?
That they were conditioned on the northern boundary, which was the neighbour to the north. To address those issues.
So we can, let me
it's there already.
Going on the plan, it's an interrupted line, so I'd say it's the same.
I think he's got stuff growing there already from, I'm trying to remember when I've been out there.
The landscaping plan must come to council.
And I just wonder, as Kate's looking at that, whether we should condition an additional privacy.
Yeah, so we could vary condition 24 or add a new one in there that requires additional landscape buffering effectively in front of the plunge pool to provide some separation along Bungee Lane.
I just may get ahead of any issues that may be raised in terms of privacy with that plunge pool.
Yep. And it's with the plunge pool, it's not only for the neighbour, it's potentially for patrons
For
inside.
them, yeah, both parties. So can I, annoyingly, I'll move we lay this on the table to later in the meeting to get an appropriate resolution to address that.
Yep. Okay, all good?
Right, yep.
Alrighty, the table's getting heavy.
You gotta put it,
Sorry?
you gotta put that.
Yeah, I'll put that, yeah. To lay it on the table till we get another resolution sorted. All those in favour?
To later in the meeting.
8-0.
Yes.
Thank you. Thanks, Kate.
Thank you.
Fourteen point four, request for use of Diane Gibson artwork. Councillor Brumpton.
I move that council grants permission to the Western District Rifle Association, Inc., Muckadilla Rifle Club to use the Diane Gibson artwork for which council holds the copyright under the following conditions. 1, the artwork must remain unchanged from its original design in accordance with copyright laws. 2, merchandise featuring the artwork is to be used exclusively as prizes for competition participants and must not be sold.
Have a seconder, councillor Hancock. Would you like a question? Yep.
Why aren't they allowed to sell it? Because our Vics sell it. They sell it on souvenirs. So is there a reason why we're not allowing them to sell them?
Through the chair, we've had a couple of these requests come through, and I think it's more along in the copyright that we don't allow groups to purchase the artwork to profit from it. It was more created for our Vics to sell it, so that's why the Injune Vic sells it, and our Vics that are in our region, we sell it as well, but we don't allow other groups to purchase, to get the copy, to use our artwork to make a profit from it.
Yeah, we might have to look into that. Only because I know that it was it was not profitable for council to do it, and that's why it went the other way. I don't know.
Councillor Davis?
I'm just wondering, is there one in particular, because there seems to be about 13 prints of Diane Gibson. Was the Rifle Club looking for one design in particular for their trophies?
Through the chair, I actually don't know the answer to that question, I'm sorry. Only what's written in the letter that they've requested, but I will be contacting them to see which ones they do want, rather than handing over the complete file of them.
I would have assumed there was
Muckadilla.
one Muckadilla on
Yeah.
page 178. I did go looking for that.
Yeah.
And also, I was wondering if we've reached out to maybe just help the group, because I know going through setup costs as a business and getting that originally done, is there an opportunity for our Visitor Information Centre to just provide that at cost, or anything like that to support, because it is once a year? Has any discussions been had with the group, or it's just this letter that's
I believe the group
triggered the report?
Yeah, so I believe the group have been speaking to Leanne. They actually, Leanne was the one that instructed them to write to council to request this. And the company that they've gone with is already the company that we use as one of our suppliers. So the company already has the artwork and it's already set up. So it's just a matter of them going to the company and saying, we want whatever quantity, the minimum quantity of the cups or the tea towels and things like that.
Councillor
So
Hancock?
there won't be a set-up cost of such, it's already.
Okay. Just in relation to Councillor Vincent's question about not being sold, I actually too had that underlined. But we do sell it in our VICs, but it's actually for council, not for community.
Correct.
Is that not what's happening in June? In June sells it on behalf of community. And did they purchase it as well? Yeah, and I do think it's something we need to look into, because I do believe when this first came out, actually anybody could actually request from council those files, and as in even businesses. So like it is, I just think we need to actually make sure that that is correct, because that was my belief.
Councillor Hancock, O'Neill?
If you're allowing just a discussion, I actually can't see the problem with the community group. If they requested this and they're using it for trophies, I think that's wonderful. But if they're going to go then to the next step to get a few more things done, so they're selling it to participants that may not actually win a trophy, and if that is fundraising for that group, I actually think that's a really good outcome for the region, and it's a return on the investment that council made a long time ago to engage Diane to do this work, and I think there's a positive there. And now how we navigate that long term, does it come to the table and we form a policy, Rob, to deal with it? But since we engaged Diane and had these done, I think this is the first time. I can't recall any other time where a group has come to us and said, can we use this artwork for X, Y, Z? Yeah. So if there's a way to empower this group and use this as a good case study to encourage others in the region to utilise the artwork, then I think it would be a good outcome. So
I think at this stage they've only asked for it for prizes,
And that's
so
the
we
matter at
should
hand,
not
correct.
delay this approval, but then there's the chance for
we could
further.
just drop and must not be sold. So if they actually do want to get more done and sell it,
They can.
They haven't asked for that at this stage though.
no, they haven't, but if we put that in there, they
They don't
can't.
have to come back.
But do we need more information about
Before, would I?
copyright and what is actually legally?
We can.
Yeah, I think it's all been decided too. I think there's something there, but
That we can't sell it.
that we can.
Oh, we can.
Just maybe an amendment of that, if Councillor Brompton would consider. I'd be comfortable with merchandise featuring the Muckadilla artwork to be used as prizes for competition participants. Full stop.
And as
Because then if they
Councillor
want
Burgess
to,
pointed
like, because honestly, if they want to, sorry, if we're having discussion, Madam Mayor, like if they want to sell some Muckadilla products for their little town, we should encourage that.
That's good.
But yes, we need to get a firm policy around so they're not selling maybe Roma sale yards or Roma, not that they might. But anyway, we just need to have a further discussion about the whole list. But Muckadilla is their little.
So you'd be happy if they sold it at the pub?
Yeah, well, it's Muckadilla, yeah. Like, exactly. Promoting their little town.
I think
So, I'm just wondering,
which promotes the region, and that's why we
did it?
did it in the first place.
So at the moment it's the Rifle Association, so going on to the question about the pub, at this stage it's the Rifle, they might want to sell it as a fundraiser through the Mucka pub, but at this stage we need to assist them in what they're trying to achieve currently, and if there's further discussions or a briefing needed around where to go in the future, I think that would be a future thing.
So my amendment was merchandise featuring the Muckadilla artwork to be used as prizes, so not take out the word exclusively. Are used to be used as prizes for competition participants. Full stop. If you're happy with that
Happy with
amendment.
that, Councillor Brompton?
Yes.
Okay, would you like to speak to it?
I think some of it's already been said, but I think it's wonderful that they've reached out to us to use this artwork. As Councillor O'Neill said, you know, council invested significantly, and part of it was to have a brand across the region before my time, but I've seen this come through a couple of times now. And it is wonderful artwork, and it'd be great to see it and be reflective of our region and people recognising it as part of Maranoa. We're also looking at getting similar artwork on the Injune Museum, so things are starting to happen around the use of the artwork, which is very encouraging.
I agree. Councillor Hancock?
Yeah, I'm happy to support this too. I think this artwork was a fantastic investment by a previous council, and it does get used around the region. It was set up correctly so that community can use it, and I'm just really excited to see that the Muckadilla Rifle Club would like to use it for prizes, and so very happy to support this.
Anyone else like to speak? Let's go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. $14.5 Surat, Cobb and Co coach repairs. Do I have a mover? Councillor Hancock.
I move that Council 1 approve the quoted amount submitted by Stephen Rolfe of $17,850 ex-GST to carry out needed repairs and to repaint the Cobb and Co coach body and wheels. 2, draw funds from work order 20550.2800.2001 Cobb and Co museum upgrades.
Seconder?
Oh, sorry, Cobb and Co store museum upgrades.
Seconder?
I'll second it. I do have a question.
Councillor Vincent?
In the report, it just has that the working group moved to support and approve the necessary maintenance and repairs, but we haven't got a letter for them asking us to cover the costs, so is there a reason why they've decided to do it?
Through the chair, it was a discussion had at a meeting that council was involved with. So there was no real formal letter sent to council requesting these repairs. It was something that council ourselves picked up, that we needed to do these repairs on the coach after it come back from the last festival. But we do work closely with the working group to receive their support in us doing this, because we work coincide with them, and we need to sort of seek their not so much their permission, but their opinion on having the works carried out. So it's more that it was discussed with them to see if they were happy for that to happen, because it did mean that the coach was having to leave the premises to have the work be undertaken.
Yeah.
We own the couch, yes.
Can I ask another question
Yeah.
too? Sorry. I noticed that in the letter from Stephen Ralph, he makes a comment about the coach being driven by a series of drivers who don't do the necessary maintenance.
Yes.
Do we have something in place to protect this and to ensure that people that are driving this are trained and we don't have that same sort of issue happening?
Through the chair, it has been discussed internally that we do need to come up with a better process for when the coach is used for events. And it is definitely, after having these repairs done, we will definitely be looking into making sure that when it is used, that it is used correctly and looked after well.
So this person could do a checklist. Do we have a checklist? If we don't have one, it would be
Development.
Sorry.
Councillor Hancock.
I might be able to help answer. Yes, there is paperwork to be filled out. There is a checklist to be filled out when people use the coach. It's on file, and so that comment, I'm going to say we should take with a grain of salt, because for the last 3 years we've had the same coach driver. He has looked after our coach very, very well. There's probably some underlying history in that comment, but the things that need repairing on our coach is absolutely not by any disuse of our coach. It's a planned vehicle, and it actually needs maintenance and there's just general wear and tear. This is not abnormal from every time the coach goes out. Before the coach goes out, it's planned, so it goes and gets checked to make sure that it's right to use. When it comes back afterwards, it's checked to make sure it's right to use, just to make sure that we're maintaining our coach. It's just that through wear and tear on a coach, a couple of things, broken that along the way, which they just had to do some running repairs to on the way. So that's sort of the background of this report. It is our facility and it is a plant asset.
All right, councillor Davis.
I've just got one question, and it's very minor. How do we know that that's ex-GST when the quote came in a form of a letter? I just don't want to be back here in 2 weeks repealing the motion. Has this been confirmed?
Yes, so through the chair, Steve Ralph is not registered for GST.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Okay, I've got a mover and a seconder. Anyone else like to speak? Councillor Hancock.
Actually, Madam Mayor, I think I just said it all before, so.
Very good. Okay, let's go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. 17.1, community book exchange. Do I have a mover? Councillor.
I need to declare a conflict of
Oh,
interest.
sorry, you do. Okay.
Item 17.1, description community book exchange, declaring councillor of myself. The person with the interest is my daughter Erin Brumpton. Particulars, my daughter Erin is employed by the Maranoa Regional Council at the Roma Library. I believe it's a declarable conflict of interest, and although I have a declarable conflict of interest, I do not believe a reasonable person could have a perception of bias. Therefore, I will choose to remain in the meeting. However, I will respect the decision of the meeting on whether I can remain and participate in the decision.
Somebody got some words? Councillor Hancock.
I move that it is in the public interest that Councillor Brumpton participates and votes on agenda item 17.1 because a reasonable person would trust that the decision is being made in the public interest.
Seconder. Councillor Davis. All those in favour? 8-0. 71, community book exchange. Councillor O'Neill.
Thank you. I'm happy to move that a report be prepared for an upcoming council meeting for consideration as part of the 25-26 budget deliberations.
Have a seconder. Councillor Vincent. Would you like to speak, councillor?
Yeah, thank you. I just wondered, Rob, should we put in there what it is? A report on a community book exchange be prepared for an upcoming council meeting?
Yeah. Community book exchange program.
Right. I'll read that again, that a report on a community book exchange program be prepared for an upcoming council meeting for consideration as part of the 25 forum. To be prepared.
Councillor, just
for consideration, I'll change that, Kel, for consideration as part of the 25-26 budget deliberations.
Councillor, just clarification there, just with that upcoming, is it for the Maranoa or just for Roma?
Maranoa.
The Maranoa, thank you.
Yeah, no, for the region.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Madam Mayor, I just need to step out for a moment.
You're right.
Is the seconder happy though? I've made those changes.
Is that all right, Councillor Vincent? Okay. Do you like to speak?
Yeah, thank you. Mayor, you've obviously tabled this, but I'm very supportive. I think we have a lot of people in our region that would take great interest in this. Anecdotally, you've shared with me, I've heard as well, that there are community members that have got boxes and boxes of books that are lining their garages and houses that could be used in this type of initiative. And of course, we've already got one that's operating that I know of, there could be others, that sits outside the Roma Bowls Club, which the Mayor and I saw when we were collecting Meals on Wheels the other day. And so I welcome this type of initiative. You see it rolled out in other regions across the state. And I think we would get, community at large, but community groups interested in this type of initiative, and welcome a report coming back to council to consider what type of investment we would need to make or partner with community groups across the region to deliver this type of initiative.
Thank you. I'd like to speak too. Rob's just showed me Mitchell. We also have one.
No, bigger one for it. So good.
Oh, bigger one for it. Sorry. Yeah. I just think, as you said, there's a lot of people that I've got one lady that's got the box already for me. So I told her I didn't want it in my house. She could hang on to it. So, I think Roma could have 2 or 3. One on the Dungadoo pathway. One maybe up at, opposite the hospital there at the park. Maybe one at the Bush Gardens. I just think it's really, and the other thing I thought of was maybe even, the men's shed might put their hand up to make them. So I just really think I just think it's a really good idea, especially, you know, like you can put children's books in there and kids can have a read, like, yeah. Have seen them at the coast when I've walked with the girls, and yeah, someone just comes and picks up a book and drops a book, you know. The Gun Club, we also have a book, you know, a book exchange there, and there's just hundreds of books. So yeah, I just can't wait for this to come back and see what we can do with it. So thank you. Councillor Vincent.
Yeah, I'm happy to support this one. It's a great idea. As you say, they're happening organically already in our community, so this would just give them some personality. I know I've seen it down at the Surat, the river at Surat. In June, I think it's got 3 book swaps.
Surat Library, not very.
Oh, I thought there was a box down on the table at the river with books in it. Okay.
Well, there will be.
There might be.
Yeah. So yeah, I think this will, you know, if it gets up and going, with some personalities, and I'm pretty sure the men's shed sounds like we've got a few men's sheds. There might be
Yeah.
fun to make one.
Yeah, over the whole region. That's exactly right. Anyone else like to speak? Councillor Prompton.
I'll be keen to see and talk to our libraries as well, because I know I see at the Roma Library, and I think it's at some of the others, that they do accept people donating, and they do actually give away books out the front.
Yeah.
So, you know, maybe there is a space to have one out the front of the library, so after hours that's available also. But, you know, we do invest in our libraries, so, you know, how much will council invest, or how much is it more on a community group? So I look forward to the report to see how that can be balanced against our library invested with our current community libraries, and somehow can we incorporate them. So maybe it is having one outside of the front of the library, so after hours there is a swap available.
Yeah. Very good. Councillor Hancock.
I love the idea too, Madam Mayor. I think it's a great initiative. I'm just wondering when that information would come back. Can we also just double check too? I know that sometimes our St Vincent Paul's or Vinnie's, they may sell some second-hand books as well. So we're just making sure that we're taking into account that fundraising opportunities that might already be in our region.
All right, Councillor Davis.
Supportive of a report coming back. I would also like to know the risks of this, because I know in Charleville their free book exchange got stolen a couple of months ago as well. I can see how it does happen down in the communities where there may be a longer drive or walk for a library. But yeah, look forward to the report coming back with the risks and costs.
Was that on a stand and everything? Really? Oh, that's sad. All right. Anyone else like to speak? Would you like to sum up?
Yeah, thank you. It's interesting to hear that people are thieving something that's free.
Yeah. That's crazy.
The stand will, yeah. Look, as I said, I think this is a good initiative. I would like to think, if we were inundated with books, that to the point that Councillor Hancock touched on, there are, well-known not-for-profit organisations, St Vincent de Paul, Lifeline, across the state, who hold huge book fests. I can remember going to them as a kid in Toowoomba. I know Brisbane has a huge one. We may actually expose to our region that there is a lot of people that have a lot of books that are in their sheds and spare rooms, etc. And it might open up a really good fundraising opportunity, in addition to the community libraries as well. So welcome the agenda report today. Happy to have moved it, and look forward to getting the report back from staff.
On that note, we'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. We've got a late.
Oh, there's a late, Jeff.
Yeah, we just got 2 in the late. We'll see how we go. L1, Surat water allocation update number 3. How are you, Matt?
Yeah, good morning. Morning, Council.
Do I have a mover, or do I have any questions?
I'm happy to move. Sorry, you go, John. Councillor
Councillor Brompton.
I move that Council 1 receive and note the report. 2, adopt the amended Surat water schedule, raw water schedule as follows. New winter watering schedule, raw water, 1st of April to the 30th of August, effective 10th of April 2025. East Surat may water on Wednesday, Friday and Sunday from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. West Surat may water on Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. and 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. 3, council officers provide an update on the Surat water allocation at the ordinary meeting on the 14th of May 2025.
I have a seconder.
Excuse me, Councillor Brumpton.
Councillor
You did say 6 a.m. to
Burkett.
10 p.m. and then.
Did I say PM? Sorry, 10 a.m.
And they were just smiling. Then.
Yeah.
You just asked them. Councillor Burkett seconded that. Thank you. Do you want to speak, Councillor?
Yes, we've been keeping a watching eye on the Surat water usage, and thank you to the officers for keeping us up to date. When we had a discussion at a briefing, we realised that the Monday that we had dropped off was only for the summer period. There is a risk currently we can see on the usage that we may go over, so we had a discussion around how we could mitigate that risk. We also heard that the community has been very responsive to the reduction of the Monday watering. So this is extending that reduction of the Monday watering, no watering on a Monday through winter is what I understand. But we do need to keep a brief on it because based on the average usage in the past 2 years, we still run a risk of going over from what I can see reading the report, Director Matt. So,
Through the chair, correct, Councillor Brumpton?
yeah. So I'm happy to move it on that basis.
Councillor Burkett.
Yeah, I think Councillor Brumpton summed up all the technical parts. I'd just like to thank the staff for keeping on top of this and also the Surat community for acknowledging that there is a potential an issue that could land us in a bit of hot water, not raw water. So, yeah, I think, and also we've got the capabilities to, if we do get another rain influx, we can manually sort that out to solve any issues, because there is people that have automatic systems on or the timers on, they just forget, or with the raw waters, the tap's just left on. So at least we can govern that, but no, fully supportive of this motion.
Can I just ask, the sign that you have outside, is that the one that was moved from down where it was?
Through you, Madam Mayor, it's actually a second sign we've procured just to have one on the water treatment plant. It was an old one anyway, so we just wanted to have a fresh
So you're
new
making
one.
sure they're both the same?
Yes,
Yeah,
correct.
okay.
Same template.
Yeah, okay. Councillor Hancock?
Yeah, thanks, Madam Mayor. Happy to support this. Happy to continue with not having watering on Mondays, and looking forward to seeing the monthly updates so we can keep a really close handle on where we are. It'll be very interesting to see the May update. Actually, it's 14th May. Sorry, I just wanted to double check that. Is that actually a council day? Because we changed. Sorry, I just do want to check this because we
Might be
put it on.
15th, actually.
Yeah.
Yep.
It is the 14th of May, yeah, we changed it. Yeah, so looking forward to doing that. And I just want to acknowledge the sign that is at the Administration Centre now looks great, and I encourage my Surat residents to drive past and have a look and help us keep an eye on our water allocation.
All right, anyone else like to speak? Would you like to sum up, Councillor?
I don't think we need to.
Right, let's go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, Matt. L2, Denise Spencer, Aquatic Facility Support Strategies for Current Facility Closure. Hello, you two. Hello. Do I have any questions or a mover? What have I got?
Question.
Yes.
Just in the recommendation, it's got, we're going to endorse the proposed mitigation strategies rather than the investigate mitigation strategies, or am I, because I don't know the cost of any of those mitigation.
So through the chair, just on that one, it's a combination of the wording, obviously in the strategies is some of them are just in investigate at this stage. In the budget section, what we've flagged is we'll prepare the 25 budget based on the endorsed strategies and also the investigated ones. So if council wants to simply investigate them, we can amend it accordingly there. But yeah, there was just some there that the plan was to prepare a suite as part of the 25 budget preparation. And that. So that's really the intent of the report. If you're concerned, we can definitely help adjust that.
So you're proposing
It could read that council consider the proposed mitigation strategies to support as part of the 2025-26 budget deliberations.
Yeah, so through the chair, that's perfectly fine, I suppose. We'll just need to be mindful. Obviously, we've got the community consultation session on the 23rd of April. The intent was obviously to be able to speak to some of these with a bit of authority that they've been approved or not, but you can still speak to them. It's probably just more, or it'll just be a slight adjustment that these are the sort of suite of proposals we're considering, as opposed to we've formally adopted them. So that's the only sort of issue there that council needs to be comfortable with. So
I think that's okay though, Cam.
Yep.
You know, most of these will come into effect when the regional pools reopen, which is, we've got some time into the new financial year before that happens. I think being able to provide the community on the 23rd, this is the suite of things council is considering as part of the budget. I think that's okay.
yeah, that's fine. That's all. I just want to flag that
Yep.
just making sure council are comfortable. That's sort of the impact of that adjustment and that. So, yep.
Councillor Hancock, did you have
I
something?
guess, yeah, I'm happy if that's the way it goes, simply because I'd need to see a costing on the temporary wellness infrastructure before that's the one that sort of, so I think I'm comfortable with what Councillor O'Neill has put forward.
Yeah, so
And-
sorry,
You're
through
right.
the chair, just on that one, obviously it had investigation in front of it, so that wasn't giving us a direction to go and implement that. That was really coming back to say, there's 3 here that are approved, we'll go and do regardless. There's 3 that will do more investigation, the wellness and the heating. Like, it was just to give us some steer that they're the ones you want to prioritise. But it's fine either way. I just wanted to flag that come the 23rd, it'll be just more a discussion that here's the ones we're considering. It might be good to be able to still have them as penciled in without 100% confirmed, because the feedback from that session might tweak what that looks like.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't think it's a big issue.
All right, Councillor O'Neill.
I'll move the council consider the proposed mitigation strategies to support the Maranoa community during the temporary closure of the Roma pool as part of the 25-26 budget deliberations as outlined below, from 1 through to 7.
Have a seconder? Councillor Vincent. And would you like to speak,
Yeah,
Councillor?
thanks very much, Mayor, and to Cam and to Lucy, thank you for the effort that you're putting in to help council consider ways that we can support our community during the temporary closure of the Denise Spencer pool. It's fair to say we want to be a proactive council, and we knew that there would be some concerns raised by the community when we closed this. Since we have closed and made the announcement, obviously we've had community members come to us individually and to raise points with us, and it's appropriate for council to have a look at a myriad of ways that we can support our community. It won't be the perfect fit for everyone, but we are going to give it a go to mitigate some of those issues, while always acknowledging that at the back end, as I said earlier in another debate, at the back end of 2026, our region is going to have a state-of-the-art aquatic centre, a generational project that has been 10 years in the making, or a little bit more. And we're finally there, and so I'm appreciative of the work that's gone in to present this today, and we'll consider the financial investment that we need to make to continue to support our community across the next 18 months, and look forward to the further conversations we're going to have with the community on the 23rd of April.
Anyone else like to speak? Councillor Vincent.
Thank you to the staff. I know we were getting some feedback, and it is 18 months without the pool, so we have committed to looking at other options to give our residents that rely on the pool for their mental health and fitness. So just thank you to the staff for continuing on looking for different ways that we can soften the blow of the pool being closed.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else like to speak? Councillor Flynn.
I'd just like to say a few words on the matter. I think that this consideration of these mitigation strategies will go a long way to supporting the community and any problems or perceived problems that community members have. Again, just reiterating the fact that as an organisation, we're asking the local community to bear with us for a fairly short period of time, given percentage-wise of the proposal and the length of the time that that proposal will benefit the Maranoa Regional community.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak? Would you like to sum up, Councillor?
Yeah, thanks very much, Mayor. I mean, it's fair to say, by and large, the comments that we've received as a council have been very positive. That you know, the time for investment into this asset is now, and are appreciative that not just this term of council. I mean, it's been 4 terms for me that we've been looking at addressing the ageing infrastructure, which is the Roma Denise Spencer Pool, and we're finally there. To Councillor Flynn's point, we do very much ask the community to come with us as we navigate the construction of the new pool. It's exciting that things have started up there already in terms of you know, decommissioning the site, and we'll have more to share with our community as we make decisions on how we can invest to support them, whether they're old or young, to still access our pools across the region over the next 18 months. So again, thanks to the staff, and ask councillors to support the recommendation.
All right, with that, we'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. Thank you both. With that, we'll go for morning tea. Do you want a little bit longer if you want to talk about the Wallumbilla thing? So 11:15? Thank you. Restart the meeting at 11:16, and can someone move us into close, please? Councillor Hancock.
In accordance with the provisions of section 254J3 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, the council resolves to close the meeting to the public at 11:16 a.m. to discuss confidential items that its councillors consider is necessary to close the meeting. In accordance with section 254J5 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, the following table provides the matters to be discussed and an overview of what is to be discussed while the meeting is closed. Agenda item C1, Notice of Termination, Studio 2, Roma Community Arts Centre. C2, Disposal of Council Asset 79812, Residential Property. C3, Wallumbilla Multipurpose Building Operational Considerations. C4, Yulbar Community Projects Water Play.
That's it. Okay, I have a seconder. Councillor Vincent, all those in favour? 9-0. We're enclosed. Thank all those, seconder. Councillor Seawright, all those in favour? 9-0. We're going to move on to C1. Notice of Termination, Studio 2, Roma Community Arts Centre. Councillor Brompton.
I move that council receive and note the Silversmiths Roma Group Incorporated are terminating their commercial tenancy agreement for use of Studio 2 within the Roma Community Arts Centre. 2, invite expressions of interest to enter into a commercial tenancy agreement for not-for-profit community groups to utilise Studio 2 located within the Roma Community Arts Centre.
Have a seconder. Councillor Burkett, would you like to speak, councillor?
It's sad as a community to see that the Silversmiths Roma Group is no longer going to be able to operate, but it's also encouraging to see that they've put in arrangements for some continuation of what they've been doing. This gives an opportunity for any other groups to put into use that room. So it'd be interesting to see. It would be lovely to think that another group might be able to utilise the room when we go out.
Anyone else like to speak? Councillor O'Neill.
Yeah, I'll speak. I'm supportive of this, similar to the comments that Councillor Brompton made. All credit to another group in town that's picking up the baton here. Obviously, it's not going to be operating out of its current location, but it will still be offered as a hobby in our community. I think this is this will be welcomed by community groups in and around Roma in particular, that are spots coming up for lease in this centre. It's been incredibly well used since the Roma Town Council made the decision all those years ago to invest in it, and I think if we can find another group to take up tenancy pretty quickly, I think that would be a valuable value to our community.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak? Would you like to sum up, councillor? No. Let's go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. C2, disposal of council assets 79812 residential property. Do I have a mover? Councillor Burkett.
I'd like to move that that Council 1 obtain a valuation of residential property known as Council Asset 79812, proposed Lot 5, and adjacent lot, proposed Lot 4, within the approved subdivision of Lot 2 on RP 101099, with the intent to offer the 2 lots for sale by auction. 2, once the development application approval is finalised, a subsequent report be presented to Council.
Have a seconder? Councillor Vincent. And now would you like to speak, councillor?
Oh, yeah, yes, Mayor. I just think this is a good move forward. We, last term with the start of the pool design, we had to try to get rid of a nice building, nice house out of the way so we could get a big footprint on the pool. So this was going out to a block council owned, and I think it's on a fantastic location, especially those who want to play golf, straight across the road. So I think this is an asset for the town, and with a future block beside it, we might even be able to make a bigger subdivision. So no, fully supportive of offloading this block.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak? Let's go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. C3, Wallumbilla Multipurpose Building Operational Considerations. Do I have a mover? Councillor Vincent.
I'd like to move that Council 1 provides in-principle support for the delivery of enhanced council services from the new Wallumbilla Multipurpose Building, including integrated library, visitor information centre, BIC, and customer service functions. B, the provision of council services that align with regional BIC and library standards, including weekday operating hours of 9 a.m. to 5 p.m, Monday to Friday. 2, discuss the following matters with the Calico Cottage Committee at their next meeting. A volunteer-led weekend BIC operations, including proposed hours of operation. B, development of a memorandum of understanding, MOU, to be prepared in consultation with the Calico Cottage Committee. C, ongoing administrative support to be provided to the committee by multidisciplinary council staff based at the Wallumbilla Multipurpose Building. 3, requests a subsequent report be presented to council for formal consideration and approval.
Have a seconder. Councillor Hancock. Would you like to speak, councillor?
Yeah, this is the next step forward for us to open up the new centre down at Wallumbilla. So we're looking forward to working with the Calico Cottage Committee on how they're going to work with us.
Anyone else like to speak?
Thank you, Mayor. Sorry.
Councillor Hancock.
Thank you. Yeah, this is just another step in getting closer to opening that wonderful building, and it's good to see that council's just moving forward with giving in principle support to what council services might look like down there when the building's opened, and looking forward to hearing back from the conversation with the Calico Cottage in the near future for their requirements and their vision of their little section of the building.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak? Would you like to sum up, Councillor Vincent?
No, I'm good, thank you.
All good? Let's go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. C4, Yulbar Community Project Water Play. Councillor Brumpton.
Can I move that this be laid on the table until a future meeting to receive more information from the design contractor?
Have a seconder. Councillor Davis. Yes, sorry. All those in favour? 9-0.
I didn't vote in favour.
Sorry?
I didn't vote in.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
All those in favour? Against? 8-1 if I can call for a division. we're going to go back to the open agenda that we laid on the table. Was the first one 13.2? Oh. 13.1. Everybody got it? Warroo Sporting Complex Canteen Project Internal Fit Out. Did we have some questions? Did I have a mover from before? I did. Councillor Davis.
Yep, thank you. Thank you for sending that information across. It is good to try and get a picture of a big $700,000 project. Just going through the quotes, what is happening with the cold room?
Councillor, through the chair, the Warroo Sporting Complex User Group is responsible for the install of the cold room, so we'll be monitoring that and obviously working with them on that one, on the install.
Yep, and I also note that the zip boiler wasn't included in the quotes, but power and water were connected by the builder. Is that also the user group's responsibility?
The zip boil probably is a council responsibility. We don't have any definition of other than what the cold room is. The user group is responsible for the cold room, but no other items at this stage. They've offered to help us install a lot of the gear, but the zip boil would fall with us.
And I see that there's 26 10 amp power points and one 15 amp power point contained in this small building. And again, what would be the allowance for plumbing and gas fitting or electrical, given that the current contractor has supplied quite a bit of that?
I think I've given a draft budget there, but without the report in front of me, I think I've allowed 5,000 just to do some plumbing fit out there. But it's just a provision. It might not be a lot of that to do anyway while we set up the canteen. It was just a provision out of the 55 grand budget and some electrical as well. Yeah, we don't think we'll exceed that 55,000.
Any other questions?
Just one, thank you. Do the shelves that are part of this quote have wheels?
Great question. I think it's the user group's intention to have casters on wheels, in fact, on the gear. So we'll probably just talk to them about that post this. If we do have an approval for the project, we'll be talking to them about whether they want wheels or they can just lift them up and move the the gear, I guess, the furniture and fittings around. So either or, I think we'd probably want to just make sure that all the users of that and all the groups that are using the canteen would be satisfied with that.
And has any sink or bench, nothing has been moved from the old canteen over to the new?
Not as yet, but the builder that we did had intentions of actually helping us and assisting and quoting on. He said that we could actually retrofit some of the gear that's in there. Not so much the long benches, but some of the square stuff that's in there, like some of the kitchen sinks and things like that, could be retrofitted. But we won't know until we actually cut it out and move it over there, what we can use. But the intent is to use as much as we can in the old kitchen and bring some new equipment across as well.
Okay, because that's not how option 4 is.
Well, yeah, predominantly, the project is meant to be option 4, but we are trying to keep the costs down. We're cost conscious as well. So the council did want us to look at some of the options to bring retrofit as well, or reuse as much as we can. We explained that in the briefing, so we obviously want to use taxpayer dollars as best we can. So we feel that possibly if we can use one or two things out of the old kitchen, we will certainly try and do that.
Ratepayer dollars, I agree, Matt. So Director Matt. So thank you for that.
Councillor Hancock.
I just want to clarify through the chair, Director Matt, we did take the oven across.
Correct.
Yeah, so we have, there is actually, the oven has been moved across to that facility. It's just none of the benches.
Yeah, and I guess some of the user group has indicated some of their stuff, they've got fittings and furniture that they could possibly use as well in there. They've got a Bain Marie they'd like to have a look at installing there as well. So that would save council a bit of money as well that we don't have to purchase.
I think like retrofitting, I wouldn't say the pleasure, I've had to do that in times before, and every unit's different, whether the folds are different, the dimensions can be a little bit out, and it does look pretty ordinary when you're trying to match that up. So they're decades apart, to be honest, so it is hard to do.
And that's right, and that's why we put the report, the asset management report in, to say the life of that asset is actually reaching end of life anyway, so it's going to be difficult to actually retrofit anyway of the age and the look and the aesthetics of a new canteen.
Yeah, exactly.
Councillor Hancock.
And just to that point, when Councillor Flynn and I were down there at the user group meeting, that was well discussed throughout the user group, and yeah, it would be it wouldn't be a good look if we then went and started matching all the equipment, because that wasn't the intent that was discussed at that user group meeting. It is a beautiful facility, and so.
Yeah, and that's right. And sorry, just to add a bit more to that, just the food safety laws are quite strict these days, and we've got an environmental health officer there that needs to stick to the criteria based on the state legislation. So we need to make sure that all the stuff that we put in there is compliant.
All right, has anyone got any other questions? No. Councillor Flynn, you moved that.
I move the original motion, and I will move the same recommendation that I moved before it went on the table, that we receive and note the report as an update on the Warroo Sporting Complex Canteen project, to endorse auction 4, supply and installation of a modular style kitchen, and allocate $55,000 exclusive GST from work order 22913 Warroo Sporting Complex Canteen upgrade to a new project titled Warroo Sporting Complex Canteen Fit Out.
Thank you. Are you happy with that, Councillor Hancock? Okay, would you like to speak to it, or are you right?
I'd just like to thank Councillor Davis for the queries. I think every one of those queries was noted in the meetings that we have had with the Warroo Sporting Complex Committee. My main concern about the moving this motion and getting the job started is that we do have a number of functions coming up in the not too distant future. This particular building has been sitting idle for nearly 12 months now, and we certainly need to have it up and running for the Warroo community.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak?
I already have.
You're good? Okay. Let's go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0.
Thank you.
I was.
Oh, sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. All those in favour? Against? 8-1. Sorry, Councillor.
Thank you.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks, mate.
13.2, is that the next one, Kel? Yep. Wallumbilla Multipurpose Building Facility name. Councillor Seawright has declared a conflict on this one. Okay, questions? Okay, Councillor Hancock moved it, but we didn't have a seconder when we laid it on the table. Councillor Hancock, would you like?
So you just call.
Does anyone want to second this motion? No? Haven't had this one before?
Lapses.
Sorry, just lapses. Okay, so I'll just move for a mover. Councillor O'Neill.
Yeah, I'll try something. I'll move that Council 1 give in principle approval to naming the new Wallumbilla multipurpose building the Wallumbilla Community So it'll be in inverted commas, Wallumbilla Community Hub. I see what you're, is that what you were getting at?
Yeah.
Two, correspond with the Wallumbilla Town Improvement Group, the Wallumbilla Heritage Association, and Calico Cottage, seeking their feedback on the new name.
No, just ask what's the intention once the feedback is
And a
received.
subsequent report be provided at an upcoming council meeting for final approval.
Have a seconder? Councillor Vincent? Would you like to speak?
Yeah, thanks very much, Mayor. There has been clearly in the report that's been provided for council to consider today a strong undertaking to get a number of names that reflect this new building, and we needed to come up with a way forward to start to narrow it down in an appropriate way. My suggestion here, I think, encompasses all of the suggestions that have been provided and massaging it into what it actually is with a clear indication that we want to continue a conversation with three very passionate groups in the local area, two that have been located at this particular broader precinct for a long, long time. And then council will make a final decision in the weeks ahead.
Anyone else like to speak?
Can I just ask a question? It's probably been discussed before. What are our intentions to have the building named before we open, or are we opening the building before we have the naming? Or not probably the opening of the building, but the official opening from a council point of view.
I think we'll have the name of the building up when we officially open it, won't we?
You would normally.
Yeah, through.
You would normally.
Yeah.
Well, is there a time frame on getting these replies back? Because it just, to me, it seems to be dragging on and on and on.
The Mayor and myself and Councillor Seawright are being tasked on another matter to go and speak with Calico Cottage, and I think we're looking at doing that on Tuesday the 15th of April. So I suspect this is going to happen rather quickly. Yeah.
Yeah, because even though the building will be finished at the end of June, is that right? We don't have to open it till we're ready?
Yeah, through you, Mayor. The building is due to be finished at the end of April.
April.
Yeah. And then fit out will take place through May and June. Yeah. And then, yes, we can open once we're ready.
We should be right by the end of June, I think, Pete. Yep.
Councillor Vincent was about to speak.
Yes, Councillor Vincent was.
Yeah, I'm happy to support this motion here as it stands now. We've got lots of feedback from the Wallumbilla community, and I feel this name encompasses the whole building. The intention of the building is for the community, and so I think this name does encompass it really well, and the groups and the library and everyone might have their own rooms named later on down the track, but I just think this name encompasses what the building is about.
I agree. Anyone else like to speak? Councillor Brompton.
Just in agreement with Councillor Vincent, I think it's important that the building itself, its multi-purpose actual intent is clearly articulated by that bigger name, but recognising that the individual users of the area can call their component, whether the Calico Cottage, the library, they have their own name within the area of the individual functions. So I think this is a way forward that it recognises that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Councillor Hancock.
Thanks, Mayor. I'm happy to support this resolution because I too agree with what's been said. The name that we've given in principle support for the Wallumbilla Community Hub. It is actually about the whole building, and that whole building is going to be a joint of some council services and community services. And so I think when I say community service, I mean Calico Cottage, but there could be other opportunities. We've going out for expression of interest for another area in that building. So I think the naming should be about a community hub, and then that it within that building will have separate sections that will work, and sometimes some of those sections will be working independently of other sections. So that's why I'm supporting the in principle naming of this building.
Councillor Burkett.
Yeah, I'm fully supportive. I think we were getting hung up on trying to capture everything in a name, and at the end of the day, it's sort of just dawned on the name we come up with is spot on, because you can't include every little thing in there, but there's I'd use the word subtitle, I suppose. They can still have their recognition under an awning with whatever is in that shop front. So, no, fully supportive of the name.
Anyone else like to speak? Councillor like to sum up, sorry.
Thanks, Mayor. I appreciate all the comments that the councillors have made. I do think this is a step in the right direction, and again acknowledge that this has been a long process. It feels like we've been talking about this project for as long as we've been talking about the pool. We probably have. But the vision behind the investment that is ultimately incurred here, I can remember former Councillor Price talking about it. There has been a real passion for a redevelopment to occur down there, led by the community, and the workers' transition agreement with APLNG has obviously led us to be able to do this, and with the additional contribution that we've received from the Commonwealth as well. So we are nearly there. The building looks amazing. We're going to have a really good name that takes in all the suggestions that the community has put forward, and I welcome those conversations that we'll have with the particular groups that I've highlighted in the resolution.
Okay, on that note, we'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 8-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Was the next one 14.2?
It is
Yeah.
the 14.1.
Roma Country.
14.1, I think, yeah.
14
Did
point-
we late to the future meeting, or did we later in the meeting? We did defer it.
Yeah.
It's been laid on the table
Yeah.
for a
Yeah.
subsequent meeting.
Yeah.
Wasn't sure it was
for
later in the meeting
subsequent
or to the meeting.
Deferred. That one was deferred.
Deferred, sorry,
Yeah.
yes, subsequent meeting.
14.2, Roma Country Music Festival post
Thanks,
event
Greg.
report. Councillor Flynn has left the room because he has a conflict. Councillor Brompton.
I'd like to move this be laid on the table or deferred, because we haven't received the information on the in-kind assistance that council provided. I mean, I don't want it to sound like I'm not supportive of this, but we're supposed to be doing an evaluation, and I'd like to have the full detail before an evaluation and how we move forward can occur.
Okay, all those in favour of laying it on the table?
To a
To
future
a
council meeting.
future council meeting when we've received that information.
8-0. Um,
14.3.
Yep.
You're going to have to go out again.
Yeah, I have to call it.
Sorry, you're going to have to go out again, but you're
No,
going
you
to have to
gotta-
say
Once
it
it's called,
first.
once it's
Yeah,
called.
once it's
Yeah.
called, yeah.
14.3, minor change of existing development permit, material change of use, undefined use reference 2022/120698. Councillor Flynn has a conflict and is leaving the room. Right, where did we get up to with this one?
If I could just change my motion.
Is that,
Just go.
does the rest below capture those same numbers as above. The whole thing has been amended. Yeah.
Yes, it has.
They're down to 42 and 43 and, 44.
As listed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is that right?
yeah,
Very good. Did we have a mover?
yeah, I think it was me. I'd like to move.
Councillor Vincent?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I'd like to move that council issue a change decision notice in relation to the existing development approval reference 2022/20698 for a material change of use, undefined use, distillery, cellar door, function facility and short-term accommodation at 50 Bunjawaggerai Lane, Roma, properly described as Lot 2 on RP 35389, reflecting the changes as listed.
The seconder was
Brompton.
Councillor Brompton. You happy with that? All good?
Yes.
Would you like to speak, councillor?
No, I spoke before, I think, before we had, it was just, that Western Queensland Distillery are growing to include more events out there, increase tourism numbers. I just think it's really great opportunity for them to continue to grow their business.
I have a question, if that's
Yep.
okay, even though I have seconded. I just assume with the plunge pool, nothing has to be listed, that it has to meet requirements around safety, water safety, etc. That doesn't have to be listed, that's already a requirement under different approvals? Yeah.
Require building approval, separate building approval, so this is a planning approval, I'll still require building approval.
Yeah.
Inspection,
Any,
obviously.
Yes, yeah. And also in terms of what's now been put forward, it's answered some of the queries we had around screening and things like that for visual amenity.
anyone else like to speak?
Sorry.
You go.
Fully supportive. I think we've ticked a few boxes that had the concerns from the neighbours, and I think it'll be an ongoing thing. You know, this will be a growing beast, I suppose. Just depends on how it goes. But I'm glad we've taken into account the concerns from the neighbours and also the concerns of the owners of the distillery. So yeah, fully supportive.
Councillor O'Neill.
Thanks, Mayor. I'm supportive of the minor change. I'm sure all parties are going to be pleased that it's finally being addressed at council today. This is obviously one that has been sitting on the books for some time, and it's now appropriate that we make a decision. I welcome the changes that have been put forward off the back of the questions that were being asked earlier in the meeting. I think the natural privacy screening will be welcomed by all parties, both the submitters and owners of the land and the neighbours. We went to a lot. We had a lot of discussions when we approved the original application to look at ways to mitigate any impact to the neighbours, and I think this further illustrates that council is listening, and I think aesthetically for the development, having a natural screen around the plunge pool, around their vision to have the cabin style accommodation, I think will be welcomed as well. This development has obviously advanced in its operation. This business has advanced in its operation since it was first approved all those years ago. And this is just the evolution of them operating, and they've come back to council to work with us about how they can operate, still with some restrictions, I might add. Between Mondays and Thursdays, they'll operate within the cellar doors, subject to ad hoc approvals that can be sought of council, but by and large, the development approval before us today, the minor change has them just operating within the confines of the distillery, for the bulk of the week, and we're affording them the opportunity to operate with some extended hours across the weekend, which will be a busy time for them. If you poll the community of Roma, it's a pretty positive response to the investment that these particular individuals have made in our community and continue to. Which I think council needs to back in our locals that are willing to invest in our community, and they brought something new and exciting, and has added to the tourism landscape that makes up the Maranoa. So I'm fully supportive of this, and we've put appropriate conditions around it to mitigate some of the impacts that have been felt from some of the neighbouring properties. So fully supported and look forward to this being a very strong business into the future.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak? Like to sum up, councillor?
No, thank you.
Let's go to the vote. All those in favour? 8-0. Is that it, Cal? All good? All right. Let's vote.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. I was just waiting for Peter to come in. On that note, I'll close the meeting at 12:23, and I thank you all for your attendance.
Thanks, Mayor.